These are some of the tendons and ligaments and muscles that are involved in an ankle sprain and that just can be involved. And so we're going to start right here. Fibularis longus muscle, the fibula, the calcaneal tendon, the calcaneus, the cuboid bone, the metatarsal bone, the anterior talofibular ligament, the extensor hallucis longus muscle, the extensor digitorum longus muscle, and the tendon of tibialis anterior muscle. And then these muscles and ligaments are also used in some of the exercises we perform. So, guys, it's Abby and Trisha here, and we're going to explain what happens when you sprain your ankle during volleyball.
So ligaments are these strong fibrous tissues that connect bones to other bones. And when you sprain your ankle, you're twisting and turning your ankle in a way that stretches and even tears those ligaments.
So there are 3 types of grades. Grade 1 is a slight stretching and microscopic tearing of ligament fibers. There's going to be some mild tenderness and swelling around the ankle. Grade 2 is partial tearing of ligament, moderate tenderness, swelling around ankle, some looseness of the joint when moved. And then a grade 3 is complete tear of the ligament, significant tenderness and swelling, and substantial instability occurs.
And the grade of the video just shown of the ankle sprain was a grade.
Here's a picture of my ankle sprain the night that it happened. As you can see, all of the swelling in my foot has kind of come together in one spot, right where I strained the ligaments. So the rest of my foot wasn't as swollen, but parts of it were very inflamed. This is a picture of my foot one day after I sprained it. As you can see, the swelling has dispersed over the entire foot. At this point, I had been icing it, and this picture was taken directly after ice. So the redness is from the ice, but the swelling is a lot more dispersed. It becomes a lot more painful because the shock is finally gone. And as you can see, it's kind of straight, and so I've lost all mobility. Here's a picture of my ankle 1 week after the accident. As you can see, parts of it are still really inflamed, but other parts have started to go back to normal. Bruising has started to set in, and your foot becomes a lot more able to bear weight. It also becomes able to move directions easier.
Go.
Here we have an example of ankle flexion and inflection. This stretches your talofibular ligament in your ankle. When you're doing this, make sure that you're balanced in an upright position, and if you fall, it will make your ankle worse, so make sure you've got some balance. Reagan right here is just moving her foot up and down, right in line with her leg, and doing this will improve mobility and make sure that she's able to put more weight on it. Alright, so here Reagan is doing some walking strides with her hands on 2 tables, so her weight's not entirely on her foot. She's never letting her bad ankle leave the ground. This is the same kind of flexion and inflection as done in the before exercise. This will stretch your talofibular ligament, and in this exercise, you're basically just putting a little bit more weight on your foot and getting that walking motion back. Just make sure that when you're doing this exercise, if you ever feel any pain, stop. For our next exercise, we'll be standing on one foot and throwing a ball back and forth with a partner. The purpose of this exercise is to regain mobility in your foot while also heightening your reaction time. So this exercise improves the mobility of your ankle and also stretches a couple of the ligaments in your foot. It also works on regaining the power of the bones.
Next exercise we have is jump squats, which will improve ankle strength and mobility for blocking and hitting in volleyball. So now she'll demonstrate a few. This will work your rectus femoris, your VMO, and yeah. Oh, and make sure you do this on a sturdy platform so you don't hurt yourself. What?
When doing a side lunge, step out with one foot horizontally with the other foot. Make sure when you're bending your knee it doesn't go over your foot or it will cause you to have knee pain. This exercise is especially good for back row players in volleyball because it works the glutes, hamstrings, and quadriceps while also strengthening the ankle by stretching the talofibular ligament.
When you're dealing with an ankle sprain, you want to remember the acronym RICE. Rest, ice, compression, elevate. As you can see here, Trisha is resting on the couch. She's got her ankle propped up on some pillows. She's got a compression cast on it, and she's also icing it with some peas. You want to do this for at least an hour every day. To prevent ankle sprains, you need
Good strength.
And flexibility.
And make sure you don't go back into the sport too early.
And for extra support, you can get a brace. I don't know. That's fine.